Jimmy, I got a question. Maybe an unfair question. Emmitt Smith. Give me a rating on him in the history of offensive backs. I mean, it's a tough question, I know.
You know, Pete, I'm not that good at comparing. All I know, he's the best that I'd ever been around. He's the best that I've seen. And, you know, I know Barry Sanders can make moves and make runs and do all this stuff. And Jim Brown was a fantastic player for a long time. But Emmitt does everything. You know, he runs the football, he blocks, he catches passes. And, you know, just like when we were evaluating him coming out of college, and I tried to get him out of high school, tried to get him to the University of Miami, and he said, hey, you know, his coach wouldn't even look at us at Miami. He said, y'all throw the ball too much. I want to go to a school that runs the ball. And, yeah, he's always been the best. And I told him the other day over at his house, I said, you've been the best at every level, and you're still the best. He's the best I've ever been around.
Do you think that, is this weekend? Is he going to break the record this weekend?
He's 93 yards shy coming into the game against Seattle.
Well, obviously Seattle's got something to do with it. But,
Right.
I mean, they can overload the defense such that, you know, they're just absolutely not going to let him break the record, but then they'll open up their pass defense to where this rookie quarterback, you know, might be able to throw for a few yards. I personally think he'll break it. I think he'll break it, you know, come hell or high water. You give it to him enough times, he'll break it.
Do you think that they, going into this game, said we'll just keep feeding him, let him get the record, and get this out of the way?
Oh, yeah. You know, Jerry, marketing, he wants him to break it. Jerry's thinking about that wallet. Yeah.
Jerry wants to actually be on the field and hand him the ball on the last play. Yeah.
What do you mean? Jerry's over on the sideline with T-shirts selling them.
Now, guys, we actually had Jim Brown on this show not all that long ago, and he actually held the record before Walter Payton had the all-time rushing mark. And we talked to him about Emmitt Smith breaking the record and whether or not he was, quote-unquote, worthy of it. Here's his response.
He had one of the best offensive line in history. Emmitt used to take off and run 10 yards straight, and there would be nothing in front of him. He's one of the few backs that ever had that, you know, that particular kind of thing going for him. At some point, it isn't dignified to chase a record. Because you should be an integral part of that team, you should be valuable to that team, and everything you're doing should be able to lead that team to the Super Bowl, and if the record becomes too commercial, it's a side issue.
Coach, is that a fair statement?
Now, I have tremendous respect for Jim Brown, one of the greatest of all time. So
Okay, now say something bad about him.
He doesn't know it all about everything. You know, just because he was a great football player doesn't mean that he has all the answers. As far as having that great offensive line, well, let's see. I'm thinking back about that offensive line before Emmitt got there. We had a defensive tackle that was undrafted that would moved over to offense, and God rest his soul, Mark Tuanay. Never had success. We had a cast-off from the whatever league that was, USFL, one thing, never had any success. In fact, they were going to cut him. Nate Newton. Never had any success.
How's he doing?
Shut up.
No, I wasn't.
And then we had Mark Stepnoski that we had drafted. He's a 260-pound offensive guard that we moved to center.
That's good, man.
And then we had a third-round pick from Central State of Ohio. Eric Williams.
Ain't nothing wrong
We
with
put it right
Ohio
there.
now.
Well, the only thing is, none of these players had any success.
Thank you.
They weren't all pro. But you know what? All of a sudden, Emmitt Smith gets behind them. Emmitt gets behind them. And then Stepnoski goes to 3 or 4 Pro Bowls. Nate goes to 4 or 5 Pro Bowls. Tuanay goes to 2 Pro Bowls. You know what? Those great running backs.
And you tried a lot of running backs. Not great, but man, it was a revolving door.
Oh, yeah.
But, Jimmy, I kind of disagree with him because I think a good athlete takes advantage of the situation in front of him. So he's got a good line. So he's still got to run the ball.
Oh, without question. I mean, but he made them that much better. And he gave them, by him having success, they got notoriety. You know, without Emmitt, nobody felt that they were worth anything. But as soon as Emmitt started running for all those yards, all of a sudden they started going to Pro Bowls. Eric Williams went to 6 Pro Bowls. I mean, Larry Allen's been to 7 or 8 Pro Bowls.
And not only the offensive line, not only the offensive line, Coach. You know, we all visited Emmitt this Tuesday. Darryl Johnson, he was there, so we had a nice little round table. You guys check it out.
I see this as even though it's looked at as an individual accomplishment, I look at it as everybody that was so instrumental in the beginning and the growth, like I said, Moose and Tommy taking care of me early in my rookie year. Coming in, you drafted me, Michael taking me underneath his wing as a rookie as well, and growing and teaching me some of the ways. All those things go into play and go into my mind right now in terms of where I'm at.
Of course, Moose Johnston, his fine fullback now with the NFL, and Fox was the fourth guy there. And in fact, you can see that whole piece in its entirety this weekend on the Fox NFL pregame show with Jimmy and Terry and Howie and JB as well.
I'm excited for him to get the record, man. He's a good guy. He deserves it. We should celebrate it.
Well, guys, we got much more coming your way with Michael's old coach, Jimmy Johnson. We'll talk to him about some football issues out there. Is Steve Spurrier earning his keep in D.C.? We'll ask him after this update.